The moment you pass your driving test is one of the best feelings in the world. You walk out of that test center with a pass certificate in your hand, a massive smile on your face, and the feeling that you can go absolutely anywhere. But here is the truth that nobody really prepares you for. Passing your test and actually being ready for real roads are two very different things. And nowhere does that gap show up more clearly than the first time a new full license holder gets onto a motorway. Today, we are following Ben on his very first motorway lesson as a full license holder, and what happens is going to be eye-opening, relatable, and genuinely useful for every driver watching this video. So stay right here because this one is going to change the way you think about driving after you pass. Welcome to How to Get a UK Driving License Step by Step, the channel that takes you through every single stage of the UK driving journey, from your very first theory revision session all the way through to becoming a confident, capable driver on every type of road in the country. If you are new here, we are so glad you found us. This channel is built for learners, for recently qualified drivers, and for anyone who wants to genuinely understand the roads rather than just scrape through a test. If that sounds like something you need in your life, please hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. We upload regularly, and every video is packed with practical, honest, real-world driving content. Now let us get into Ben's story. Ben passed his driving test several weeks ago. He did everything right. He studied for his theory. He took his time with lessons. He practiced his maneuvers until they were second nature, and on test day, he held it together and came out the other side with a full UK driving license in his name. By every official measure, Ben is a qualified driver. He is legal on the road. He can drive unsupervised anywhere in the country. Except there is one type of road that Ben has never driven on. Not during lessons, not during his test, and not in the weeks since he passed. The motorway. And this is not unusual at all. In fact, it is completely standard. Under the current UK system, learner drivers are not permitted to drive on motorways unless they are accompanied by an approved driving instructor in a vehicle fitted with dual controls. Many learner drivers never get that motorway experience before they pass, simply because instructors and pupils prioritize the routes and maneuvers that will come up on the practical test. The motorway, with its 3 lanes, its high speeds, its lorries, and its merge points, stays off the radar until after the license is in hand. And then suddenly, one day, a new driver finds themselves on a slip road with 70 miles per hour traffic ahead of them and absolutely no idea what to feel. That is exactly where Ben is today. He has booked a post-pass motorway lesson with his instructor, something that more newly qualified drivers should seriously consider. And the two of them are heading out to experience the motorway environment together for the very first time with Ben in full control of the vehicle. Before they even reach the motorway, the conversation in the car is already revealing. Ben admits that the thought of merging onto a motorway makes him genuinely nervous in a way that roundabouts and parallel parks never did. There is something about the speed, about the volume of traffic, about the lanes stretching out ahead with no traffic lights or junctions to break things up, that feels fundamentally different from everything he practiced during his lessons. His instructor reassures him. This feeling is not a sign that Ben is a bad driver. It is a sign that he is a sensible one. Healthy respect for a new environment is exactly the right attitude to bring onto a motorway for the first time. The approach to the motorway begins with the slip road, and this is immediately where Ben gets his first real lesson. The slip road is not just a way of getting onto the motorway, it is a tool. It exists to give you the opportunity to build your speed up to match the traffic already flowing on the main carriageway before you physically join it. The most common mistake new drivers make on motorway slip roads is treating them like a regular road and arriving at the merge point either too slowly or without having checked their mirrors and blind spot early enough. Ben does well here. He accelerates with purpose, checks his mirrors, signals, picks his gap, and merges cleanly. His instructor gives him a nod. First challenge, handled. Once on the carriageway, The first thing that strikes Ben is the speed. Not in a terrifying way, but in a way that feels different from anything he has experienced before. On a roads and dual carriageways during his lessons, 70 miles per hour always felt like the upper limit, something you touched briefly before having to slow down for a roundabout or a junction. On the motorway, 70 is just the flow. Everyone around him is doing it. The lorries in the left lane, the cars in the middle, the occasional vehicle in the right lane moving past. Everything is moving together at a pace that demands a different kind of attention and a different kind of mental processing. His instructor talks him through the concept of thinking further ahead. On town roads, you are scanning maybe 30 or 40 meters in front of you. On a motorway, you need to be reading the road a quarter of a mile ahead. You are looking for brake lights building up in the distance, for lane changes happening 3 or 4 cars ahead of you, for the shapes of vehicles shifting position. The motorway rewards the driver who thinks ahead and punishes the driver who reacts at the last moment. Ben starts to feel this within the first few miles. The further ahead he looks, the smoother and more relaxed his driving becomes. The moments where he focuses too close to the front of his bonnet are the moments where things feel rushed and uncertain. Lane discipline comes up next, and this is an area where even experienced drivers frequently get it wrong. The highway code is absolutely clear on this. The left lane is the driving lane. The middle and right lanes are overtaking lanes. You move out to overtake and you move back in when it is safe and clear to do so. You do not sit in the middle lane because it feels comfortable. You do not stay in the right lane because you plan to overtake again in a few miles. Ben is naturally drawn to the middle lane at one point simply because the left lane has a slower lorry in it and the middle feels easier. His instructor gently calls it out and they discuss it, not as a criticism, but as a learning moment. Understanding why lane discipline matters, not just that it is a rule, is what actually changes driver behavior long term. The motorway also introduces Ben to something called the 2-second rule in a whole new context. He has heard of it. He used it during lessons. But at motorway speeds, the gap that represents 2 seconds is significantly longer in physical distance than anything he has maintained before. At 70 miles per hour, 2 seconds is roughly 60 meters. That is the length of about 4 or 5 car lengths at minimum. When Ben first starts maintaining this gap, it feels almost uncomfortably large. His instinct, shaped by years of being a passenger in city traffic, is that a gap that big is an invitation for someone to pull in. His instructor walks him through the reasoning. The gap is not just about reacting to the car immediately in front. It is about having enough space to respond to hazards that develop 2 or 3 vehicles ahead of you. The gap is your thinking time made physical. Midway through the lesson, something happens that was not planned but turns out to be one of the most valuable moments of the entire session. Traffic ahead slows suddenly, not to a stop, but significantly. Within a few seconds, the motorway goes from free-flowing at 70 to a crawling 45. Ben handles it well. He brakes progressively, maintains his gap, checks his mirrors, and keeps his composure. When they debrief it afterwards, his instructor points out what Ben did correctly and what he could refine. The main takeaway is that motorway hazards often develop more gradually than town hazards. You usually get more warning, but only if you are looking far enough ahead. If you are looking close, a motorway hazard can feel sudden even when it was actually telegraphed from half a mile away. By the end of the lesson, Ben is noticeably more relaxed than he was at the start. The motorway has not become his favorite place to drive. It will take more time and more miles for genuine comfort to develop, but it has lost its mystery. He understands now that the motorway is not inherently more dangerous than any other road. It is simply different. It demands different skills, different awareness, and different habits. And those skills, like all driving skills, develop through practice and through honest feedback from someone who knows what they are looking for. If you are a newly qualified driver and the motorway still feels like unfinished business, Ben's experience today is your reminder that you do not have to figure it out alone. Post-pass motorway lessons exist precisely for this moment. They are one of the best investments a new driver can make in their own safety and their own confidence. If this video resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who has just passed their test or is working towards it right now. And if you are not yet subscribed to How to Get a UK Driving License Step by Step, now is the perfect time. Hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and join a community of drivers who are serious about doing this properly. There is so much more to come, and we will see you in the next one.